Hey, thank you for joining me. If you guys got your coffee ready or beverage of choice, of course, let's go over the news together. Cheers to you guys. So I wanted to start with today's episode from GamesRadar.com, as we got one article from them that I wanted to cover. And it says here, Baldur's Gate 3 delayed from August, a new release date will be revealed this month. And it goes on to read that Baldur's Gate 3 will not be released in early access this month as originally planned. Developer Larian Studios announced today. However, it sounds like its updated release date isn't far behind. And it goes on to say that, quote, the release date or the updated date will be revealed in a stream on Tuesday, August 18th, end quote. Actually, sorry, that wasn't the official quote. I kind of made that up apparently. But anyways, so if you're like me, you actually played Baldur's Gate 1 and 2 growing up, if you were somebody who grew up during the 90s, such as myself. But I'm not somebody who really remembers it all that too much. I wouldn't consider myself a super fan or anything like that, although I do remember having some pretty good memories playing the game. But I actually do know somebody who I would consider a pretty good authority on all things Baldur's Gate. She goes by the name of Wisa of Content Creators, and so her and I started out making similar content, in terms of RPG news or MMO news and stuff like that. But she moved on and found a lot of success, making Baldur's Gate videos. And so that's what she moved on to do. So if you have anything that is Baldur's Gate related, any questions, definitely check her out. I'll have a link to her YouTube channel in the description below, and let her know that I sent you. Next, we'll go ahead and cover some of the articles from GameRant.com that I found super interesting. First one here, Fallout 76 details all the new Update 21 content. Update 21 goes live for the Fallout 76 game, bringing all new missions, events, and numerous bug fixes to Bethesda's ever-growing Fallout MMO. And it goes on to read that tons of new events and additions to the game have been updated, including the hotly anticipated Brotherhood of Steel event that lets players across the community work together to give the notorious faction a foothold on Appalachia. And I believe this event that it's talking about allows players to build, forts or towns using the camp system to make Brotherhood of Steel related, settlements. They've also included new events such as Fortifying Atlas and a Colossal Problem, as well as Meat Week. I unfortunately have not played Fallout 76. I was going to pre-order it just because I really wanted that Brotherhood of Steel helmet that looks really awesome, but by the time I got around to it, it sold out within like an hour or something like that, something crazy. So this is the case where I just wanted the toy more so than the game. Well, truth be told, I wanted to play the game at first, but as soon as it came out, it didn't really meet my expectations, I guess you could say, as it didn't for many others. But it looks like, after the Wastelanders update, that it seemed to be getting a lot of traction. It seems to be going in the right direction for a lot of players. I don't know. I still really do enjoy playing Fallout 4, as I do occasionally do settlement tours and all that kind of stuff, which I will continue to do as the months go by. But in any event, is this a game that I will play? Probably. I'm not sure. I'll definitely need some help to try to get into things, admittedly, but in any event, if you play this game, let me know in the comment section below why I should give it a try. And really quick, in their next article here, Fate Grand Order just made a huge amount of money for Sony, and I definitely have fond memories with this franchise. I grew up with some of the games. And it goes on to read that despite being somewhat niche compared to most popular Japanese game franchises, the Fate series, but especially the mobile RPG Fate Grand Order, happens to be one of the most lucrative around, with FGO having made billions in 2019 alone. It should come to no surprise that the game continues to make Sony an impressive profit in 2020. And the reason why I wanted to cover this, not only because it's an awesome JRPG franchise, but because when you think of companies that make billions of dollars, you obviously think of games such as Fortnite from Epic Games. You also think of League of Legends. You also think of even PUBG, which also rakes in billions from what we could tell from their financial reports and stuff like that. Never once would I imagine that Fate Grand Order would make so much money for Sony. But then again, it is the mobile platform we are talking about, and I will go into some of the reasons why I have certain biases against it in another article, but I'm also at the same time kind of not surprised it raked up so much cash, because that's what mobile titles are kind of known for these days, fortunately and unfortunately, and I'll go as to why that is in a later article. So I was very hesitant to cover this a little bit. I typically don't like to cover bad news in a sense. That is the bias of this channel, admittedly. But I think this is something that has to be mentioned just because it affects so many of us in terms of consumers, but also the people who work for Blizzard and Activision. So, and in their next article, it says Blizzard employees shares salaries to push a more fairer pay. An internal document from Activision Blizzard reveals that employees aren't happy with the compensation given the company's success. And to get the gist of it out of the way, despite Activision Blizzard having continued success this year, an internal 2019 survey revealed that over half of the company's employees are not happy with their current compensation. The issues were compounded by the massive layoffs the company had earlier this year, which resulted in the remaining employees taking on extra responsibilities. In response to the survey, Blizzard conducted its own study, which resulted in pay increases, which is great, right? But unfortunately, it goes on to say that several employees revealed that increases were less than 50%, or I'm sorry, 50 cents per hour, with little opportunity for overtime work. And you'll definitely hear about this if you go and peruse various gaming websites and YouTube channels out there. And yeah, I understand that a company isn't a charity, but at the same time, when people tend to accuse companies of being greedy, I mean, this isn't a very good optic. I think this is definitely an issue where companies are spending way too much on overpaying their top tier CFOs and CEOs and whatnot, and I think they did actually have that problem in a recent earnings report or something like that. And I know a lot of people are going to say that Activision is the one mainly to blame here because, you know, they're the bigger company, and when they merged, it corrupted Blizzard and stuff like that. And you know, there might be some truth to it, admittedly. I don't know. I never worked for either of those companies. I never owned or created a big business like that ever in my life, so I'm not going to sit here and pretend to know that what's good or what's bad. And next, we will go ahead and cover some of the articles from massivelyop.com, and just to kind of follow up on what I was talking about earlier, this particular article is sharing more about their financial report for the second quarter of 2020, and basically they're saying that despite the sort of global sickness that I really can't mention because of the algorithms and the bot that, you know, hears everything within your videos, because of that sickness, despite that, they still made record profits apparently. And so again, doesn't help with the optics in terms of how they are treating their employees, unfortunately. And in their next article, Past Fate promises new spells and skill trees to alpha as its Kickstarter marches on. And this is a game that I know that I covered in a previous episode, but I don't remember anything about it, unfortunately. I think I was just so concentrated on the grind. But anyways, it does go on to read that as the second Kickstarter drive for the sandbox MMORPG Past Fate rolls on, the devs at Icy North Games are still hard at work at improving the game's alpha build. They actually introduced two new backer tiers, with the first one being offered at $70 and the other one being at $125. And so you might be wondering, why are these tiers so expensive? Well, I think I kind of understand why. Towards the bottom it says, as for the drive itself, it doesn't appear that it's gaining a whole lot of traction, unfortunately, sitting at just over $3,000 of its $25,000 goal at the time of this writing. That being said, anything could happen in the 20 odd days left, so we'll just have to wait and see. So as you can see, we are at their Kickstarter page, and it seems to be inching along. While I was on the page, it did tick a little bit more. I just missed it, but yeah, they seem to be making some progress still. And the game admittedly actually looks a lot better than I expected. A lot of these sort of low budget MMORPG titles by indie companies tend to look a little crude, a little outdated, admittedly, but this one actually looks pretty decent, in my opinion. And the reason why I would wish this game success is because there's a lot of discussion amongst MMORPG, I guess, connoisseurs or players or fans, whatever you want to call them, saying that the genre is kind of dying, or it just isn't what it once was, especially in the early 2000 days. And I think there is a point to that. Matter of fact, I think Offline TV actually posted a video discussing whether or not MMORPGs are dying or not, and they're definitely one of the bigger channels, especially on Twitch. So it's an ongoing discussion, in my opinion. In my opinion, it's not really dying. I just think it's changing. We're seeing a lot of the game is being produced to be more of a social type of game more than an MMORPG, and I think the party mode of Fortnite is evidence of that, but that might be another discussion all on its own later on. So yeah, I really hope that this game is a success at the end of the day. And lastly from and lastly from MassivelyOP.com, Final Fantasy XIV will be down for 24 hours for the patch 5.3 maintenance. And so basically it's saying get everything you want to get done in Final Fantasy XIV before August 10th. Anything you want to do, because again, a 24-hour maintenance is pretty long time. I don't think I ever played an MMORPG where the maintenance was actually that long, but understandably so, because 5.3 is supposed to be one of the biggest content updates that Final Fantasy XIV will receive, and this is the Crystals of the something update. Oh my goodness, I can't believe I'm forgetting the name of this. Some MMORPG expert I am. But anyways, yeah, just wanted to let you know, you guys, anyone who's a big Final Fantasy XIV fan, you guys are definitely getting some awesome updates. And again, now with the updated free-to-play accounts that could level up to, I believe, 60 in experience, the content up to, I believe, 5.5, I'm more inclined to download this game and try it out, just because I feel like I'm missing out. Next, we got one article from MMOculture.com. Tower of Fantasy, ambitious anime-style open-world mobile MMORPG at China Joy 2020. And so this is where I'll give you my explanation of why I have a certain bias against mobile platforms, but it does go on to say that based off the official introduction, Tower of Fantasy combines delabeled characterization. I don't even know what that means, delabeled. Maybe you just kind of create your character, and the items that you equip make the class that you want to play, something similar to, I guess, the New World. I don't know. That's just my interpretation of it as in terms of delabeled. But anyways, it combines delabeled characterization, film and television grade motion capture, high freedom world exploration, a scrappy sci-fi art style with a variety of scenes, interactive puzzle elements, and fast combat feel to tell players a post-apocalyptic story of rescue and destruction. At least that's the aim of it. That's their sort of official description of the game. But as you can see, I have the trailer and some of the customization playing either on top or over me, depending on how I edit this. And it nails down the anime style pretty well. It definitely is an anime MMORPG by all accounts in terms of its aesthetics. But the reason why, and again, I'll go into it, the reason why I don't cover a whole lot of MMORPGs for the mobile platform is because a lot of these titles claim to be MMORPGs. They claim to be massive, hence the M in MMO, but they're really not. They're more like hub-based online games, but they try to kind of, I guess, spruce things up and be more than they really are, unfortunately. And a lot of RPGs kind of fall under that category, unfortunately. But not only that, I think some of the most heinous monetization are actually found on mobile games. A lot of the gacha mechanics, a lot of the very unfair loot box mechanics and stuff like that, and people kind of quote-unquote forced, I'm putting that in quotes because you're not really forced to do anything, but or maybe the better word is tricked, I don't know, of some of these really shady monetizations, in my opinion, are the most prevalent in mobile titles. And that's not to say I'm against mobile titles completely, because I do enjoy playing a few of them, including Epic 7 by Smilegate, which is a pretty cool anime style RPG. But I think one of the most popular games that has been scrutinized when it comes to some of the complaints that I mentioned is Raid Shadow Legends. I mean, you'll see that game everywhere. Would I love to be sponsored by them? Sure, because, you know, I would love to get paid doing what I love, right? But at the same time, I'm kind of conflicted because I have such a problem with the way they monetize their game. And there's another YouTuber by the name of Upper Echelon Games or Gamers or something like that. Really awesome guy. I love his content. And he did a whole video, or a few videos actually, following the money trail, I guess you could say, or connecting the dots, and you'll see that Shadow Legends is actually owned by a casino company. And you know, casino companies are always trying to find ways to hook players in to fork over more money, and a lot of the implementation of what you see in casinos are actually in the game Shadow Legends. And it could be argued that a lot of these other RPGs or MMOs or whatever you want to call them are also implementing the sort of same shady monetization practices. And so that's kind of my spiel. Again, if you enjoy mobile titles and you love them and that's all you do, that's great. I'm not here saying that you shouldn't play it. If that's what you enjoy, by all means, don't let my opinion affect the way you play or the titles you play. That's just kind of where I am in terms of my opinion about the mobile platform, unfortunately, and I hope it gets better, but I'm not I'm not very hopeful. I'm a little pessimistic about that. And next, we'll go ahead and cover some of the articles from MMORPG.com. And the first one here, Guild Wars 2, the Festival of the Four Winds, returns on August 11th. The Festival of the Four Winds is an annual event that is rife with rewards and activities for all manner of Tyrian adventurers. The tweet detailing the release of the festival is scant on specifics, apart from what most players can expect from last year's festival. I'm really glad that they continue doing these events. Events, I think, are pretty much one of the things that draws a lot of people back into the game. And in their next article, Black Desert Mobile releases a big update today. New modes added. And it goes on to read that the new update plans to bring new convenience features such as a combining function for crafting, an auto-enhanced update, and a wide range of fixes that include changes to the matchmaking systems that you don't find yourself battling with guildmates in ranked arenas. Ouch. But there's also a new thing called Path of Glory, and essentially it's a new mode where the objective is to defend the gates of a castle against waves of enemies, call on your family to successfully fend off waves, and secure the location. That actually sounds a lot of fun. That reminds me of the Gears of War series and their Horde mode, which I had so much fun, especially when playing Gears of War 2. That's pretty much all I did on the Guild Wars game. Wow. Gears of War game. Gosh, excuse me. And so I would hope that they would actually implement something similar to the Black Desert Online in the PC and console versions as well. Granted, I'm actually not sure how this plays out, if you actually control the characters or if it's like some sort of grid or RTS style defending the gates type of style, because it does say call your family, so I'm assuming you get to use all your characters under your account. So I'm not exactly sure on the details, but if they are able to implement something like this on the original game for the PC, I think that would be pretty awesome. And in their last article from MMORPG.com, Ashes of Creation team is hiring for several positions. The team is hiring for positions in San Diego, California, and is especially hiring for the following. And you see this list here, you got a bunch of senior gameplay designer, a bunch of artists and effects artists and stuff like that. And I'm looking through this list, and I am not qualified for any of this. It's just like, man, I should have went to school for one of these rather than getting my film degree. And so many of you will know that I'm actually really looking forward to this, especially when Asmongold covered it, and the Lazy Peon did a wonderful video covering why this is the game that he's looking forward to the most. And it's a terrific video. I definitely recommend checking it out. Summit 1G actually did a reaction video, I guess you could say, covering some of the different aspects and the new things that they are doing. And again, I get that they've made mistakes, especially with the Battle Royale mode that nobody wanted. I get that, but I think they learned from it, and I don't think that it particularly was zero-sum loss, I guess you could say. They actually did apparently learn a lot from going that route in terms of making battle royales, in terms of the fighting mechanics and stuff. Fine, that's fair enough, but some of the stuff that they are adding to this MMORPG has me excited for sure. So I do apologize, that is one spicy advertisement for a dating sim game. I don't know why, but anyways, this next one comes from theegg.net, and this is a bit controversial, so I do apologize, but I thought it would be worth covering anyways, because we actually don't see a whole lot of games like this, at least not to my knowledge. And the game is called Arisen, and I guess this company is in Belgium, and the independent developer or studio is called Maratus Games, and it's released a prologue of Arisen Chronicles of Varganal. I believe that's how you say it. I do apologize for mispronouncing that, and it's coming to the PC in 2021. And the reason why this is controversial, and it says here, it's a story-driven RPG with beautiful visuals set on an island of Massili something. It's set on an island, but take on a role of a slave who will embark on a quest for freedom. And given the political climate that's going on today around the world, I think that's what makes it controversial. And you can't really talk about the whole slave thing without talking about racism. I'm saying it like that because I think the algorithms kind of frown upon the actual R word. But again, if you're into this sort of stuff, I mean, why not cover it? Why not bring it to your attention? I absolutely believe in the freedom of speech and freedom of expression, especially when it comes to art forms such as video games. And so, yeah, I mean, just letting you know that there are games out there such as this, and I'll just leave it at that. Next, we will head on over to Gematsu.com for one article. And oh my goodness, I'm going to butcher these names. Dokapon and Utawarerumono? I cannot, what the heck? Collaboration title, Dokapon UP. Mugen no Roulette announced for PlayStation 4 and Switch. And you know me, I try to cover a wide variety of different RPGs that include MMORPGs, action RPGs, JRPGs, Korean RPGs, all that. So that's why I wanted to mention this, just for all you JRPG fans out there that could actually read Japanese and play Japanese games. I think that's awesome. But it's due out on December 10th, but I think it's only in Japan. I don't know if this will release for the US. But yeah, it is a visual novel of some sort that adds or that has elements of RPGs in it. And yeah, just that's all I could say really about it. I don't really know anything about this other than that. So there's that. Next, we'll go ahead and cover two articles from PCGamer.com. And the first one here, Destiny 2 is getting rid of Mars, so it's being rebuilt for Garry's mod. And I will admit, the first thing that came to my mind is that, oh, they're going to blow up Mars in the game? Is that going to be part of the lore? Like, they're just going to completely, just dismantle it? But that's not what they were talking about. So... And it goes on to say here, Bungie is kicking off a whole bunch of planets into the vault come the arrival of Destiny 2 Beyond Light. Mars, Mercury, Titan, and Io, I believe that's one of the moons of Saturn or Jupiter or something like that, will be removed from the map as the associated quest and storylines are no longer relevant. To make up for their eventual departure, a modder has rebuilt a significant chunk of Mars for Garry's mod. And in their next article, GTA Online PC players will get new stuff exclusive to next-gen consoles. And at least 2 more updates are coming this year. And it goes on to read that GTA 5 is headed to the Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5, along with a standalone version of GTA Online, ensuring yet more updates. Exclusive stuff will be added to the sandbox that you'll miss out on if you play on the Xbox One or PlayStation 4, but not on PC, giving its enduring popularity and the fact that PC will be able to keep up with the enhancements coming with the future next-gen updates. It's not a surprise. A summer update is coming first, and Rockstar's also teased a later update that will include new heists in an entirely new location. And I actually did cover this last week about what that new location is, and it's rumored to be Liberty City, actually. The same Liberty City from Grand Theft Auto 4, not 3 in this case, I believe. Again, take that with a grain of salt, and Nico and Roman will actually be appearing as well. Again, that's also a rumor, so take that with a grain of salt as well. And really quick, lastly, I just wanted to cover this as well. I thought it was worth mentioning. While the specifics of the exclusive add-ons are still a mystery, we do know that GTA 5 is getting technical improvements and a visual upgrade for the new consoles. Whatever those technical and visual upgrades are, I don't think it's not going to be comparable to some of the mods that actually came out for the PC version. Again, going back to GamesRadar.com, incredible GTA 5 Natural Vision Evolved mod makes the game look photorealistic, and this is true. I mean, oh, sorry, that's a little loud. I mean, just watching this and seeing the reflections of the water on the road, and oh man, like, I definitely recommend going to YouTube and checking this out, because I have never seen a more beautiful game in my life. That's the honest truth. Maybe not the demo that they did for the next Unreal Engine that they did a month ago, I believe. I mean, that looked incredible too, but in terms of levels of quality and just, again, photorealism, this mod is pretty dang amazing. And that concludes today's episode of MMO and RPG news and commentary. I really do appreciate it if you made it with me so far, because the watch time significantly helps with the algorithms. And if you feel as though I have earned your subscription, please consider hitting the subscribe button down below, as well as the bell notification icon right next to it. Please let me know if you guys like the new format and the way I do things. Rizo Games, or Rizo Games, I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your name. I do appreciate your feedback. You've been a tremendous help to this channel, so thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. But anyways, everyone, I will finally let you guys go. Hope you guys have a blessed night, and I will see you guys next time. Cheers again, everyone.